welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Katie and I am a homeschooling mom. I have 3 kids. Their ages are 7, 5, and 2.5. So this year we will be homeschooling. Our oldest will be in 2nd grade and our middle child will be in kindergarten. And then our little one will just be doing age-appropriate preschool activities. And we use Abeka curriculum to homeschool. So I wanted to show you guys everything that was in my parent kit and child kit for 2nd grade. I did do a video for kindergarten also. If you also happen to have a kindergartner, I will link that up here at the top and you can go check that out as well. But this video is just going to be focusing on the 2nd grade curriculum. So this is our 2nd year of homeschooling. Just for a little bit of background quickly. Last year was our 1st year. We kind of fell into homeschooling because of COVID, and we realized that we really enjoyed it and we had a great experience. We used Abeka last year. My husband and I were both homeschooled at different parts of our childhoods, and our parents both used Abeka for us. So we were familiar with it. We wanted a faith-based curriculum that was important to us as Christians. And Abeka is just known to be academically very solid. A lot of kids are usually ahead of where their peers would be in public school by using Abeka just because it is so thorough. And you know, homeschooling in general, kids tend to test ahead a little bit just because of all the one-on-one time that you can't really get in a public school when there's one teacher and 20-something children. So I can't say enough great things about Abeka. We really enjoyed it. It works for us. And I know that it's not for everybody. That is why there are so many different programs and brands and different curriculums to pick from, because the same thing isn't going to work for every family. But I hope that if you are considering Abeka, I hope that this video will be helpful to you. You can kind of see what the curriculum looks like, what to expect. And like I said, I cannot recommend it enough from, my own opinion. So let's dive in, and I'm going to kind of go through piece by piece what you can expect from the 2nd grade curriculum. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you are the teacher guidebooks. Now, this is one of my absolute favorite things about the Abeka curriculum program is their teacher books, teacher guides, the lesson plans, whatever you want to call them. They are so thorough and so helpful. I will just tell you that last year, as a first-time homeschool mom, it can be very overwhelming. You want to make sure that you're teaching your children what they need to know, hitting all of those milestones and all of the things that they need to learn for that year, for that grade. And I think Abeka does a really great job of helping you as a parent to reach those goals with your kids and to teach them what they need to know. And you do not have to have any prior teaching experience. You don't have to have a teaching degree to be able to successfully and confidently teach your kid using Abeka. That's my opinion. I think they make it really easy for parents, which is, like I said, one of the main selling points that made me want to get Abeka, is because I have 3 kids. My youngest is a crazy wild toddler. I don't have time to do a lot of prep. I don't have time to come up with things on my own. That's just not realistic for my life right now. I need something that I can open it up and it's going to show me step by step what I need to be teaching, and Abeka does that. You can open it up and go. It's very low prep, and of course you can always tailor things and make them as complicated as you want to or not. If you want to do some big art project or science experiment to go along with whatever the lesson is, of course you can always do that. That's the beauty of homeschooling. It's up to you. You're the teacher. But if you need low prep, easy, open and go, I think that you will really enjoy Abeka because they make it, like I said, so easy for you to do that. So in the teacher lesson plan guide, I love that it tells you exactly what to say. So there are parts that are using bold font, and that bold font is literally telling you exactly what to say to your child. So I'll show you an example of that in just a minute, but let me show you the teacher guides. So for second grade, there are 3 teacher guides that you will receive in your teacher kit. These are really big books. This is everything you need for the year. So this one is language arts, which is going to be reading, writing, phonics, spelling, all of that stuff will be in here, all of the teaching guide. I mean, this is a really big book, like I said. So that's the first one that you'll have. The second one will be math. You'll have your math teacher book. It's a little bit less because that's just one subject. And then you will also have this one, which is pretty small. This is history, science, and health lesson plans. And then it also does include art and music lesson plans. And it does have a little note right here. I'll read to you guys. It says the related items available for purchase individually. They're not included in the child kits with these books that are included in the child kit. So last year in first grade, I did not purchase the art and music child books. To me, it wasn't necessary for our family. My daughter loves art. She colors all the time. She does crafts all the time. You know, we do crafts at church also. It just wasn't something that I thought that I needed to include like in our daily lesson plans. And then same thing with music. We do musical stuff, you know, on our own as a family at random times. Like I'm not concerned about her lacking in that, you know, in the lower elementary grades. So that part is totally optional. But if you do choose to buy the art and music kits, books, then the lesson plans for those will be included in this guide. So I'm going to open these up and show you guys a little bit of what they look like on the inside. So in the front of the teacher guide, there are a lot of helpful information, especially for first-time homeschooling families. They have things like the suggested daily schedule. So if you want to come up with a daily schedule and, you know, you want a guide to go off of, they have a sample one here. The other thing that they have is also a sample calendar for the year. If you're looking to schedule out your whole homeschool year, they have something there that will tell you, you know, exactly what lessons to do on what day to make it through the whole booklet. They have helpful tips. This book that I'm showing you is the language arts book. They have helpful tips for phonics, 6 easy steps to reading, and how to teach a new special sound. So like I said, you can be very confident to teach this stuff to your kids, even if you've never taught before, don't have any experience with that. They give you all the tips to learn how to do it. And you know, with homeschooling, you're kind of learning alongside your child. And I feel like, you know, the more the year goes on, you and your child will fall into a rhythm and a pattern, and it will just start to come more naturally. Every day that you do it, it starts to become a little bit easier, a little bit more natural. So that's just my little encouragement to you. It has a section in the front about how to administer the test. If you're, you know, lacking in knowledge on how to do that, don't worry about it. Read over this. It tells you exactly how to do that. Now I'm going to show you what day 1 would look like for the lesson. Okay, so each lesson, it tells you on the page what lesson it is. So this is lesson 1. It'll tell you exactly what guides to use with it. You know, they send you a lot of that stuff in your child kit, like posters and flashcards and charts. And so it'll tell you exactly which ones you need for the lesson, if you need any for that lesson. And like I said, it will tell you in bold font exactly what to say. So let me look right here. Okay, it's talking about the vowels on day 1, going over what sounds the vowels make. And it tells you, let me get closer to the thing so you can see. Right here, it'll say ask. And then it says, What are these letters called? This is what the child's answer should be. So if you want to make sure that your child is answering correctly, I mean, obviously we know what the vowels are called, but it tells you the answer, okay? Makes it so easy. Okay, your child's answer is vowels. How many vowels are there? This is your child's answer, 5. Name the 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, U, okay? It's that easy, you guys. That's why I just love this curriculum. I feel like it makes you feel more confident as a parent and as a teacher. It's just easy to work through. It's easy to understand, and they make it easy to teach. So that is just a little sample of kind of what the teacher's lesson plans look like. And hopefully that gives you guys an idea of like how how easy it is. I feel like a lot of times people get, overwhelmed with the thought of homeschooling, especially, like I said, especially if they don't have any teaching experience and they think, well, I'm just a parent. How am I going to make sure my kid is learning what they're supposed to learn? Abeka makes it easy for you to do that, especially by, highlighting in that bold font the important things. Like, don't miss these things. These are very important. Let's take a look at the math lesson plans. This is the math lesson plan book, and very similar to the language arts, it tells you the day, the lesson. So for math, a lot of times it will have you like draw out some problems for them to practice at the beginning, like a warm up. And so you could either buy a whiteboard, like a big one on the wall. You could buy the little individual ones that sit in front of the child, or you could do this in a notebook. Honestly, me and my daughter, when we do these, we usually just use a notebook and just write it on paper to do it, just because I think that that's the quickest and easiest way to do it. So it'll tell you, like right here, it will say board and paper, and it'll have this little pencil symbol beside it. Anytime you see that little pencil symbol, that means that's something you're gonna write out on paper. So you will just sketch these little dominoes out and pretty much copy exactly this on your paper or on your whiteboard. And then later on in the lesson, it will tell you, let me see where it says that right here. So it'll tell you where the child is supposed to complete that at. So right here, have him write combination and the twin. And so again, you see that little pencil, that's where they're gonna do that at that part of the lesson. And again, you'll see like down here in the instruction part, it will say, it'll have the bold font. And so that means like those things are important. You can just say that out loud. But like I said, I love this. I love these teacher guides. That is what I was looking for when I decided to homeschool, was something that made it very easy for me as a teacher. So I'm not going to show you the lesson plans for these because it's just very similar to what you've already seen. So now I'm going to show you the child books. There are a lot of them. Let me see if I can lift this up. Hold on. This huge stack is all of the child workbooks for the year. So let me just go through these quickly. So this is going to be the history book. It's called Our America. I really loved in first grade last year. I really enjoyed the health and science and history books for the children. I thought the graphics were great. The pictures were great. So the way that they set it up for health and science and history is, it's almost like they have chapters. So it's almost like a book with chapters in it. And then you and your child can go through and read it together. Usually I would just read it to her because some of the words are bigger. And sometimes when she's reading, especially words that are big or, she's not super familiar with, she's not comprehending as much because she's focused so much on reading. And I wanted her to be able to comprehend these things. So I would usually read it to her. And then, we'd talk about it or whatever. There's also always like activities at the end of that chapter. So whatever the topic is, that's a section for them to write the answer. So yeah, I just love the graphics in these books. So that one was history. This one is science. So this is really fun. They get to learn about different animals and the earth. And so you can just see some of the graphics. I just really like these. And there's activities here also in the science book. So this one would be draw a line to the picture of the correct science tool. So, you know, nothing too extremely hard or time consuming, just a little activity to kind of reinforce whatever they had been learning. And then this is the health, safety, and manners, which I really like that the health book also touches on manners and then safety. I just think that that's something that our kids need to learn anyways. And I really enjoy that this book includes that as part of health. So, you know, working on hygiene, washing your hands. And at this age, in second grade, kids are bathing themselves. So, you know, reinforcing, washing your face, washing your hair, stuff like that. And this book also does have activities at the end of each chapter for the child to complete. Also, because Abeka is a faith-based curriculum, there are also at different times in different books, whenever they felt that it lined up with it, they will put in scripture also. So you'll see scripture sometimes in the workbooks, which of course I appreciated. Okay, moving on to some of the language arts books. This one is called Writing with Phonics for second grade. And this book is all about improving their penmanship, okay? And also this does include creative writing too. So that will happen more like towards the second half of the year. The first half of the year, they will mostly work on improving their penmanship, which my daughter definitely needs to work on that. And then towards the end of the year, once they've kind of mastered penmanship more, then they get to do creative writing. And that was kind of the same way that the first grade book was set up. And my daughter really loved creative writing. Like they would give prompts and then she got to use her creativity, which she just loved. So for penmanship, the book will have a warm-up. And so this is cursive. So Abeka does let you choose between cursive or manuscript. So this will be her last year in first grade, she did manuscript. So this will be her first year doing cursive, and she's actually really excited about it. So for cursive, you'll do a warm up, you know, getting the flow of your pencil and everything. And then you will trace and write. So they will trace right here. And then here they give them, I don't know if you can see that, a little circle. That's where they'll start writing with their freehand. And then they copy the sentence down below. So every day they would do one of those sheets to practice on handwriting. Okay, this is the phonics and language workbook. And these books are really nice also. Let me show you. So every day they would do, let's see, I think 2 pages. So they'll focus on all different things that they've been learning in that lesson. And then also they'll combine some like the previous day or whatever, just to reinforce it in their mind. So circling special sounds would be right here. Circle the rhyming words. Is it a sentence? Circle yes or no. And then at the bottom, it has where in the teacher book, it will tell you words to say out loud, and then they will write them. So that will also practice some of their spelling for that. So these, these little activities will just go over all the different skills that they're learning in phonics and language, and it just helps reinforce it. And these little booklets, they don't take long to do, I don't think, but they're just good for that reinforcement. Okay, here is the second grade writing tablet. I just love these graphics. I think these books are so cute. So this is just a blank book with lined paper. Okay, so honestly, you could probably use a notebook. Like, there's no special reason why you would need this, but it just comes with the kit so that you have everything you need. You don't have to go out and purchase a notebook for this. So this would be for like creative writing. If you want them to write out their spelling list, I have my daughter do that a lot just to, again, reinforce it. The more you write it, the more you're gonna remember it. Working on penmanship, writing Bible verses, writing their name, practicing any of that stuff. This is just a whole notebook with blank sheets of lined paper for that. Okay, the next thing is spelling. So here's spelling and poetry. So when we started Abeka last year, my daughter had done a little, so she went to public school for kindergarten, and they did do some poetry stuff, but they weren't like making them like memorize it as much, I don't think. And so when I saw all the different poems that, you know, Abeka wanted her to memorize, I was kind of doubtful, honestly. I was like, I don't know how that's gonna go. But she did so good with it. Like, she memorized all of them and she would say them. And it was a lot of repetition, and we would say them every day, like 3 times, and just saying it and saying it and saying it. And yeah, I was really surprised with that. And I think that it's good for them to have. So, in the back of the spelling book is the poetry section. So they will learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 poems for the year. And then the poems themselves are really pretty. Look at that one. Looks long. So all these different poems they will work on every day. And then so that's in the back of the book. And then in the front of the book is the spelling list. So let's look at list 1. And I'll show you guys. All right, so there is list 1. You can kind of see, so they have it written in cursive underneath the word also, just so that as your child is learning cursive, they're also seeing it in print. Makes it a little bit easier for them to read, because, you know, some letters do look different than they would in manuscript. Okay, so then every day they could do a different one of these little activities, write the spelling word for each picture, use the color key to finish coloring the picture, and on the bottom, finish the sentence using these words. Okay, so those would be the activities for this week. This would be one week's worth of spelling words. And usually every day, it will also tell you in the teacher guide additional activities for them to do as like homework, and that's optional. So that's if you think that they need it. Usually myself, I would have my daughter write out her spelling list for like the first 2 days, write it out on a piece of paper. And then for like the last 3 days of the week, I would just make up little games. And they do have games in the teacher's book for language arts. In the back of that, there are different like little games and activities for spelling, and it'll tell you all that. But, you know, just little activities to reinforce the spelling list, because they do have spelling words on their test every week, which I will get to in just a second. Let me show you the reading stuff, and then we'll get to the test booklets. Okay, for reading, I think Abeka has a great reading program. So they have books that your child will read. For second grade, I think there's 12 of them, if I just counted right. And so they're all about this size. And so this one's called Fun with Friends. And the inside, I'll just show you. So like here is a story, and you can see they have illustrations to go with it. And then at the end of the story, it also has questions that you can ask them to make sure they were paying attention. But these are great stories. And so the books, whichever one is the first one, which I think is this one. Yeah. So up here in the corner, you see where it says 2A. So this will be the first book that they start with, second grade, book A. And then the next book would be 2B. and then 2C, and so on. And each book gets a little bit harder. So the first book is going to start off pretty easy, like mostly shorter words, easy for them to read, to understand. And then they get longer and longer as the book goes on. So like in the beginning of this book, this story, very short sentences. I am Ben. My pal's name is Ted. Ted and I like to eat sweets. Like short, simple sentences. Let me just look at the last one. Okay, so here, I'm not sure if this is the last one, but this one is to I. And the stories are getting longer. The words are getting harder. More words, less pictures. So as your child goes throughout the year, their reading skills and comprehension will get stronger and stronger. Now, this is a book that came with first grade too, so I'm familiar with this one. This is the handbook for reading, and your teacher's guide will tell you which days to use this, but you use this on certain days. And this has like all of the blends and the vowel charts and stuff in it. Let me show you a page. Here's N and H. And this is just for your child to kind of read over and make sure that they can say those blends and the vowels, and just reinforcing that. So this whole book is filled with that. And like I said, you don't do this book every day. Your teacher's guide will tell you what days to do that. And then it also does come with a primary Bible reader. And so certain days they will have your child reading stories from the Bible. Now, I will tell you that Abeka uses the KJV version of the Bible, which, if you are familiar with the Bible and with different kinds of Bibles, KJV is written like in Old English. And so they have a lot of thys and thous and ye's and that kind of thing. And sometimes that can be kind of hard for young kids. Like sometimes, honestly, that can be kind of hard for even me. So usually when it has us do a Bible reading, we will use our own Bible. Like we bought her a children's Bible that is in the ESV, the English Standard Version, which to us, that's what I personally like to read when I'm reading the Bible. And I just think that it's easier to read for her. So we honestly don't actually use this one. We'll just look at whatever the scripture is, and we will use our ESV version Bible that we have at home. So that, is totally up to you, and it's a personal preference thing. All right, this is a new book that did not come in first grade. This is the Reading Comprehension Skill Sheets. So I was just looking briefly at the inside, and it says that these will start in lesson 84. So these won't start until more towards the middle of the year, and they will do 2 activity sheets each week. So let me show you the activity. This would be number 1. They would read the story. And then on the back, it would ask comprehension questions about the story. And so that's just good for you to be able to monitor if your child is actually comprehending what they're reading. Because like I said earlier, sometimes when kids are learning to read, they're wanting to get the words right so badly, or they're struggling, that they're actually not comprehending because they're so focused on saying the words. So I'm actually excited for this. I think this will be a great skill and activity booklet to have for making sure she's comprehending what she's reading. Okay, guys, I know there's so many books in this kit. This is a lot of stuff, but we're almost to the end. So next, this is your math workbook for the year, and it's all in one book. And the math workbook is really fun. It has bright, colorful pictures. And kind of like in the language arts workbook, the math workbook also is going to have several different like short activities that work on different skills and different things that they're learning, okay? So let me show you. Let me just open up to a random page. Okay, so page 71, this will be lesson 36. So at the top of this, they're going to write the sums and differences, so adding and subtracting. Then they're going to work on clocks. Then they're going to work on adding vertically. Then they're going to work on a chart and answer the questions about the chart. So, you know, that's several different skills that they're working on. And that's just good for reviewing, for practicing, for making sure that they got that. Another thing I wanted to show you guys about the children's workbooks is down in the bottom corner, it will say what lesson this lines up with. So see how right there it says lesson 36. So this is going to line up with lesson 36 in your teacher plans. So that's great for if you ever, I don't know, lost your spot, or a lot of times I'll tell my daughter, like, open up to page whatever, because it'll say it in my lesson book. I just think that it's nice that they added that on there so that you know, okay, this page goes with this lesson plan. So that's math. The next thing is the health, science, and history workbook also. So this will line up with what you're learning in those, remember the 3 health book, science book, and history book. So this will just have activities that will go along with whatever you taught that day in that book. Okay, that is all the children's workbooks. Now, we have 2 test books for 2nd grade. So we have, phonics and language test, and we have math test. So the tests are going to be once a week. This is the phonics and language. Let me show you. Now, it does come with the teacher guides also. So the kids have the math and the language test books. You have the test keys, okay? This has all of the answers in it. This is going to be your best friend. So for phonics, this is what a test would look like. It would tell you, write the special sound in the word your teacher says. Now, how are you going to know as the teacher what to say? It's going to be in this book. So this is page 5. Open it up to page 5. There's the teacher guide. It tells you exactly what to say and all the answers. The next section, write the blend you hear in the word your teacher says and mark the special sounds. Right here on this section, write the words your teacher says. That's going to be their spelling words that they've been working on all week. And again, it'll tell you that in the teacher guide. There's the words, okay? So that's where their spelling comes in. So there's not separate spelling tests, you know, just a test about spelling. It's incorporated into the language test. It's all in one. Okay, and then on the back of the test, they also have oral part of the test. So that is where they will read, and you will grade it based on like how many they said right. And so for this, they just will pick a row and they will read 1 row across. So I usually give my daughter like a minute to look at it and to see which ones she feels like she's most confident in, because I want her to feel confident about it. And so she'll pick whatever row she thinks that she is most confident about, and then she'll read that orally, okay? So that's also nice to, when you're talking about language, to make sure that they are pronouncing the vowels and the blends and the sounds right. So that is what the test looks like for phonics. They're not very long tests. They're pretty short. They honestly don't take you very long at all to do. And you do one of those a week. And then same with math, you'll have one of these a week. And also for math, so this has tests and speed drills. So every day at the beginning of your math lesson, your child will do a speed drill, and the speed drill just has all different facts. Here's what a speed drill looks like. And it's split up into 4, because 4 days of the week, and then on the 5th day they would do the test. So 4 days of the week, and they would do 1 block. So this would be 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, okay? And those just have different subtraction and addition facts, and they are trying to do those in under a minute. So it's really working on memorizing facts and not counting on their fingers and all of that. And the answers to the speed drills are also in this book. So if you want to, check it really quickly, they're all in here. And then for the tests, let me show you what a typical test looks like. So there's going to be oral questions. Write the answer to the combination your teacher says. That's going to be in your teacher test book, and that will be them figuring out the answer orally, you know, in their head without it written down. And then draw lines to match the names with the shapes. Fill in the missing numbers, and then write the time. And then on the back, there's just more addition and subtraction facts. There's word problems. There's greater or less than. So those are all things that they're going to be working on. I think that the math test takes longer than the language test. I just feel like there's a little bit more material there that they need to do. But they're really easy. They make it very easy for you to grade it by giving you all of the answers in this book. And in the front of the test, the teacher test books, it does tell you a grade key. So it'll tell you exactly how to grade it for you to be able to keep track of grades. Okay, so that is everything that comes in the basic teacher kit and child kit for second grade. Now there is a like deluxe, I'm not sure if that's what they call it, I can't remember, but like the next level up. It comes with more like charts and flashcards and activities and that kind of stuff. We just don't think that all that is necessary for us. We have a lot of that stuff already. I buy flashcards and stuff at like Dollar Tree and Target. So it wasn't necessary for us to buy that. So we just stick with the basic. But like I said at the beginning of this video, I love this curriculum. I think it is super easy to use. I think that my kids learn so much using it. I love how thorough it is, how advanced it is, and I just can't say enough good things about it. And so if you're considering Abeka, I hope that this gave you like some insight into what the curriculum looks like, and hopefully this will help you make your decision. I wish you guys all the best, and happy homeschooling. Bye guys.